Hey y'all, Caleb the camera guy here. Today we have kind of a different video. I'm gonna do a breakdown of how I recreated a shot from John Wick 2. It was a shower scene, and so yeah, we're gonna get right into that in a little bit. But first, I just kind of want to talk about a little bit of the backstory. So one thing I like to do to just get better as a cinematographer and a gaffer is to go on a ShotDeck and just practice my skills of recreating shots. Okay, so ShotDeck is a great tool, especially when you're building out storyboards and stuff like that. And so I went on ShotDeck. I just got these new Aparo lights recently, and I thought, okay, well, how can I use these in a creative way? Just using basic, simple lights. This is going to be a bit of a long video. I'm going to put chapters in here, so if there's a specific part you want to skip around to, feel free to do that. The color grading will be near the end after I talk through the process of how I set up the lights and my camera and everything like that. Let's get right into it. This is ShotDeck, and you can literally type in anything you want in here to, find whatever shot you need to build out your storyboard. So for this, we're just going here and do John Wick shower. Here's the shot I wanted to recreate. And so basically what you do is you just download this image, take a screenshot, whatever you want to do. It has all this information in here that's super useful. So once I got the image, then I just start thinking, okay, how can I recreate this? What type of lighting scenario is this, right? And first, I go and set up the camera, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of walk through the 360 shot. I did capture everything of me setting this up. So we'll just kind of walk through it and go step by step. So first off, I pull a C-stand in and set it up at a kind of a low angle, right? I have a Tilta magic arm right here, which has locator pins so it locks, so it doesn't spin or do anything weird like that. I have my Fujifilm X-H2S here. I do have a underwater cage for this, but I wanted to try to not use that and just do something simple that everybody could do. If you have a camera, if you have a couple lights, how can we get this done? Once I get it set where I want it, then I go and grab some saran wrap. Almost everybody has saran wrap. If you don't, it's super cheap to buy. So I cut a piece of saran wrap off, and the idea is to tape it to the wall just to keep water off, from splashing off of me onto the camera. And then I go and I got some red duct tape, or you can use gaff tape or whatever you want. I like the duct tape because gaff tape isn't really waterproof or anything, so it'll the water will leak through that. If you notice, I kind of start from the top, and then I'm gonna tint everything down. So when water hits the cellophane or the plastic wrap, like it's gonna run straight downhill. So I just tape all the way around it, tape to the lens, and make sure everything's nice and tight. It's gonna shed water nice. Then I go outside and throw a little light into this window here. This is an Aparo light hanging up here, 12 watts. Super lightweight. I taped it up with some of that red duct tape. No stand needed. I really love these lights for that. Adjust the color temperature to the coolest setting, and then we move back inside. I got my other Aparo tube here, and I'm just kind of waving it around, looking in the screen, seeing what the light's doing, splashing on the walls, and how it's reacting in this setting. So this is when I kind of noticed that these tubes have a really wide angle of light spread. At that moment, I was like, I need to cut this down somehow. I don't have any black tape. I wish I did. It would have worked way better than using this red tape because some of the light still leaked through that. But basically what I did is I took some of this red tape and started wrapping it around the light to create kind of like some barn doors or something like that, right? Or a grid. It's just something to help direct the light and keep it from spilling out so wide. Then I'm back adjusting the light, lifting it up, higher, lower, kind of seeing where I want to put it. I could have brought in another light stand here, but again, I want to keep it simple, right? What can everybody do? Maybe you only have one light stand, maybe you only have one C-stand, maybe you don't have any of that. So I'm just trying to keep this bare minimum, and I decide to, again, tape the light to the ceiling. So 3 pieces of tape, boom, it's up there. Check everything, turn the lights off, check the levels. Right here, you can see I'm waving my hand kind of in front of the light. As I'm referencing back to my reference image, I notice that there's a lot of shadows. This light is very direct, and the light that I have here, although the tape did cut out some of that spill, it's still spilling quite a bit right here on the wall. It's very dark up here above the shower head. Then again, Like, keep in mind, I don't have the same shower, I don't have the same lighting situation, but this is when I noticed that I had the wrong lighting setup altogether. This is actually a spotlight type setup. So they have a small light, probably on a stand from behind, with a snoot or something to direct that light and make it very round and sourcey. And you can tell it's kind of from an upward angle going down 45 due to the shadows on his back, right? And they might even have some neg fill down here or something like that, I don't know. So as I look back at this, I noticed the highlights in this water, like you can really see the water pop. And it's because they use that spotlight method. You have shadows behind and then the light is beaming right through that water. So with my setup here, if I go back, I'd have so much light spilling everywhere that it's going to be really hard to get that beam of light going through the water. I got another small light. This is like a $30, $40 light off of Amazon. I love these things. I did the same thing. I wrapped some duct tape to direct the light forwards and keep it from spilling out. Right now you can't really see the water, but as I use this light to kind of backlight it, now you can see it. So the way around this really would have been to do it the right way, just with one light and then do a spotlight, but I'm just trying to make this work with what I got. That's pretty much it. You know, we just go in and create the shot. I do have a really short shower head, so I had to bend down and like contort my back and try to, you know, do all this to make it look similar to the actual shot. This is obviously a very tall shower, a very big wide shower. I just don't have that, but that doesn't mean you can't go and create something cool, you know? Now we're gonna move into the color grading process, because this is really where all the magic happened. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset this clip here. Please excuse my love handles. I do have shorts on, so I'm not naked, just so you know. This is a 10mm lens. This is the widest lens I have. I was really just trying to match how wide this anamorphic is, because anamorphic gives you a much wider perspective. This was probably like a 35, 2 times anamorphic or 1.6 or something like that. So I just went with the widest lens that I had, and then I was planning to crop it all down. So we'll kind of talk through that a little bit on how I got there. But basically, I take my reference image, I overlay it, and then I'm going to turn down the opacity, right? This gives me a look at kind of where we're at compared to this image. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start zooming in to get my shoulders and John Wick's shoulders pretty much looking the same width. Same width, same height. That looks pretty good. Once I got that, then I start cropping. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cropping the top. I'll bring the crop down, and then I'll crop the bottom. And now, this is where we're sitting. So if I toggle this opacity back up, not bad, not bad. So now we get into the color grade process. I went ahead and dropped my node tree on here. I turned everything off, and I'm just gonna turn everything back on one at a time and talk through why I did what I did and blah, 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 blah. So the first thing I'm gonna do to bring this out of F-Log is add a LUT. This is a phantom LUT. I highly recommend phantom LUTs. They are amazing. I have them for the Sony FX6 and for F-Log. Import my image. I already have it here, but I'll just import it again so you can see. Just click, drag, drop into the gallery page. If you double click on this and turn on image wipe up here, that's what this little guy is. Now I can move this back and forth and just compare in real time what my shot looks like versus the other shot. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this probably about halfway. I'll turn it off. Once I've got my LUT in there, I'm gonna go in and start adjusting stuff like the curves, right? So if I turn this off and on, this is just me bringing up the highlights a little bit, dragging the shadows down, messing with the midtones a little bit here. The next one is where we get a really big shift. Okay, so this is gonna take us from blue into green. And basically I just went into the primary wheels and did a slight offset here. You can see it down here. Usually everything's 25, and I just kind of dragged it down very slowly off into the green. Okay, so this gives us that greenish hue that we can see over here and around here, and also brings the skin tones from a red to more of a green. So moving on down the line here, I'm going to turn this back off. The next thing I'll do is making adjustments for the skin. That's what these nodes are here. And again, I'm pushing into the green, but I'm using a power window here. So if I move this around, I really just want this to affect this area and not the entire image. So I created this power window, just ever so slightly pulled this gamma down into the green. All right, moving forward, the next thing we have is some more power windows. I'll just toggle these off and on so you can see them. This is a vignette window. It brings down the exposure on the entire outside of the frame. This is where a lot of the magic starts to come in here. So in order to get this, I created a power window and then I inverted it, and then I go over and just drop the offset way down, bringing down the exposure of the edges of the frame. Moving on. This one is a little more complicated, so if we go back and turn on our image wipe, you can see I have a lot of light up here compared to this image. You know, you got this circle shape from the spotlight, right? So I'm gonna try to recreate that using another power window. So that's what this is. And to get this, I just use this pen tool here and draw my own power window. And you can adjust this around however you want, as you can see. But I create this curve here and then I bleed it off this way and that way, connect it all back together, using a little bit of feather here to make it nice and soft, and gradually just fade in. Down here I have some noise reduction just to soften up the image a little bit, and then I bring it back a little bit with some sharpness. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's kind of like my process when I go through recreating these images and really just comparing back and forth over and over and over again. And it's a very tedious process. I mean, I don't know how long I spent color grading this, but it was probably like an hour to 2 hours just flipping back and forth. How can I adjust this color? Okay, how can I get this tone a little better? Okay, how can I get these shadows to look more comparable to my reference shot? Now, ideally, you would nail all this in camera, right? But that's not always the case. And so being able to use these tools in DaVinci or whatever editing software that you use to get the look that you're wanting is a huge deal. And this just comes with a lot of time behind the computer, you know, unless you're like a prodigy or something, I don't know. For me, all of these tips, all of these tools and everything that I've learned, it just took a lot of time and going back and forth and doing this and practicing, and that's why I keep doing these things. So I hope you learned something from this. I'm not a professional colorist. I'm sure there's somebody that can do this way better than I can. I don't know everything, but I'm just learning and I'm excited to always share the knowledge that I do have with you guys. So if you have any questions, comments, like just reach out to me. You can message me on Instagram. You can leave a comment here on YouTube and I will answer with the best of my knowledge. And yeah. Thanks for watching. If you made it all the way through this video, please subscribe. You know, I'll be making more stuff like this and trying to just create more content where I'm not overcomplicating my setup for lights and everything, and just really sharing the knowledge that I have, because the biggest hurdle for me in sharing this knowledge is always this part right here, is making the video, taking the time to edit the video and throw it all together for you guys to watch. So I'm trying to simplify this process. I'm trying to post more content for you guys and share the knowledge that I have. So stick around and yeah, hope to see you on the next one.